Set a name, have a morning routine, put yourself into a positive frame of mind by changing your relationship to time and thinking more optimistically about your long-term goals. And that's it. From there, you get whatever the fuck you want. Okay, so I just filmed an entire clip of me talking and I realized it wasn't even fucking recording this whole time. Good morning. Today we have some arms and abs, and I'm just gonna focus on lower abdomen today. So other days I did some obliques, I did some like crunching motions for my upper abdomen. Now today I'm gonna focus strictly on lower abdominal development. Now I don't always do that. It really just depends on how I'm feeling throughout the week. Again, I train with a more intuitive frame of mind. So I train the muscles that feel like they have the most opportunity to be pushed, right? So like if shit's fatigued, if it's like sore, if I feel really tired in a certain body part, then I will completely avoid it and I'll take a rest day. However, today my abs aren't really that sore. Actually, they're not sore at all. So I'm gonna focus strictly on lower abdominal development. Now, this is called a GHD machine. Now this thing has a lot of utility to it. Now you can do various forms of like exercise for the posterior chain, which essentially is a fancy word for saying everything from the back of the head all the way down to your heels, right? So from like, you know, your head, your neck, your back, your ass, your hamstrings, your calves. So one way this machine can be used is like a reverse hyper, which is what a lot of people will use it for. You know, kicking your legs back like this. That's more of a upper glute and lower back mobility exercise. You know, that can help with that whole posterior chain. I don't have any weight because I don't have a swinging arm with this, so I'm just using body weight. However, you can also do a lot of different ab exercise on this. A lot of people will face into the machine where they'll put their legs in that way and they'll do a crunching motion. I, however, am going to do a leg raise on this. And this shit is no joke, man. This is probably the hardest leg raise that you'll ever do. So I'm gonna hit a set of this real quick. And what I like about this is this rounded surface allows me to like get no lower back strain, but I can get a big extension in my pelvis, and then I can kind of pull it out of the pocket with this. So most people have a lot of hard, too early for this. Most people have difficulty training their lower abdomen because they can't get it to engage, right? Well, this is a fucking great way. However, I can only do about 8 reps on this before my shit feels like it's gonna fucking rip. And again, you're in a vulnerable position, right? Be smart about this. Don't swing your legs, because what you want to do with your lower abdomen is take out your hip flexors, right? Which is when your legs are raising up like this, okay? So you want to try to focus on more of a shearing motion, right? I'm trying to focus on bringing my pelvis to my chest like this, okay? Like a crunch, okay? You're not trying to just kick your leg. I can sit here all day and kick my leg and I feel nothing in my abs because that's all my hip flexors. So when I do this, I'm trying to think about shearing, bringing my pelvis to my chest. So let me do a set here. Oh, fuck. Nice and slow. Fuck. Whoa. Good morning. That'll wake you up. Fuck. I did a little bit of ab rollouts too before I did this to stretch out my abdomen, but this is so fucking isolated. And I took a huge shit this morning, so that really helps too. Let's do a few more sets here. All right, so I just finished up with some ab work here. And now I'm gonna do a little bit of incline curls. So when I do an incline curl, the idea is to put a bench around the 30-degree mark. Because what I'm gonna do with this is pinch my shoulder blades back and allow my shoulder frame to open so I could stretch my biceps all the way. Because a lot of times when we're curling, we're kind of hunched forward and we're kind of isolating that full stretch and opening of the biceps. So what I like to start with is some sort of lengthening movement. Now in the past, I showed you videos where I did it with like a cable, like a single arm going overhead, which I'll probably still do, but I'm gonna do it with dumbbells today. So I'm gonna lean back on an angle, open up my frame, get a big pinch in my shoulder blades, and focus on curling through the pinky side of my hand. So let me go grab some weights real quick. All right. Let's get started with this. Oh, I like to actually stand and not sit on the seat. Get a bigger pinch that way. I'm like pinching my shoulder blades back. So look, I'm leaning my body weight back on an angle because when I sit, my weight's going to go onto my butt. But when I'm standing, I'm leaning backwards. My weight's more so on my shoulder blades that pin me backwards. So I'm going to open up here, take it nice and slow. Again, keeping my shoulder blades pinched. That's what's going to help open up and expose my biceps for the most stress here. And I'm just feeling this out. Again, I'm pretty cold here. It's my first set. So I just want to take my time. Feeling out the range, feeling out the movement, seeing if I need to make any adjustments, seeing if anything's tight or compensating. If I'm getting stress in my forearms, if I'm getting stress in my elbows, if my shoulders are bound up a little bit. I'm just trying to feel out the range, see what feels best for me. Okay, that feels pretty good. And just like that, nothing too fancy. So starting off with the 25s here. I'll probably do a couple sets with the 25s. And then from there, I'll bump my weight up a little bit. And then do a little bit more there. So I'm going to stretch out my biceps first couple sets. When I hit my triceps, I'm going to start with some cable work because I feel like it's much easier on your elbows. If you jump right into a free weight, especially in the morning, it's going to irritate your elbows a lot because you're dehydrated. You know, you don't have any blood in the muscle yet to take weight from you. So you got like a dry, dehydrated muscle and a dry and dehydrated, unlubricated joint. And then you're going to try to do an overhead extension. Probably not the best for your elbows long term. So I do a cable first, I'll warm it up. But let me do a few more sets here and then we'll move it on. All right, I bumped the angle up just a little bit, just to change the profile slightly. Oh, okay. So again, I'm gonna stand, lean back, pinch my shoulder blades, really rotate them, and then curl through the biceps. I'm not just trying to bring my hands up, I'm trying to squeeze my biceps. Big difference. Keeping it there. At the bottom range, a little tip is I like to try to flex my triceps, and then I'll open up my biceps all the way. Okay, damn, those are starting to burn a lot. Oh, fuck, I don't think I need to go up in weight today. Let's go. You know, sometimes after like blasting, you know, there's something called your central nervous system. And that's essentially the nerves that connect from your brain and they go out systemically to the peripheral nervous system all the way out to the appendages. And sometimes when you train really heavy, you will blast that nervous system and you'll get this like residual fatigue that sits with you where it seems like you got good sleep, your food's up high, you don't feel like you're super sore in any particular part of your body. However, it feels like your energy's off a little bit, like you can't really connect. And that's that central nervous system fatigue I was talking about, where your body's just like blasted. And I'm feeling a little bit of that today because of the legs I did yesterday. I trained 3 days back to back, pushing my weight a little bit more because I've had more food. And I think I definitely played a significant role in terms of fatigue. So yeah, not feeling as strong today, but it's okay. I only got some arms. Already finished up my abs, so just gonna finish up getting this fucking pump and then go from there. I'll probably do one more set here and then we'll jump over to some cables and we'll start doing some tricep work. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start with some triceps here. We're gonna do a neutral grip. I like to start off with some variation of push downs because it's very gentle on the elbows, and extension can sometimes cause a little bit of irritation, especially when you're first starting off. But a push down, it's nice and easy. Not too much stress or strain on the elbow itself. And it allows me to pump a lot of blood into those triceps because usually the secondary movement I do is some sort of overhead movement. Like I like to do skull crushers on a bench with utilizing the cable instead of a free weight. But I don't like to do that until I got a lot of blood in my triceps, because then it's more of like a stretch, right? Pulling it through and pulling it open. So I'm gonna hit a few sets here. Again, key thing to keep in mind with this, tight elbows. I'm not focused on like an extension. I'm focused more on like a push. okay? So I'm trying to stay on top of my weight, elbows coming back, and I'm just focusing on pushing down, nice and easy. Just trying to engage my triceps. Again, this is super light. And I'm just taking my time. Beautiful. A long time ago, one of my clients got me like laser hair removal. Felt like a birthday present. Spent like $2,500 on a whole bunch of sessions for me. And it worked. It worked mainly on the legs. Thin out the hair a lot. It still grows, but by no means is it like gone. But my back, I feel like when the hairs grow back around my back area, like right over there, it starts to snag on clothes. And even up here around my shoulders and stuff, it's a snag on clothes, my backpack. And it just does not fucking feel good. So I definitely think I'm gonna explore that option before the end of the year and just get some fucking laser hair removal, especially for my back. I can't fucking reach it. Then the last thing I want to do is tell my wife after she's been at work all day, say, hey, I know you've been working all day, but you think you can carve out some time to fucking shave my back for me? That shit takes too long, dude. I've also been thinking about, like, I am white as shit. And I don't like to be that white. Like, I'm almost like translucent, especially when it comes to like being inside the gym. Like, this showroom lighting makes my skin look like I'm glowing right now, especially since I washed off all that tan. So I'm thinking about, there's a peptide called melatonin, right? Melanotin, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. Anyway, it's like a peptide that helps you tan. And I know a lot of my buddies use it. And essentially what it does is just using that little bit of that peptide, walking outside will help actually change the melanin concentration inside your skin. You'll actually end up tanning more. So, yeah, it's great. Yes, I'm using the straight bar. Yep. Jeez. Guy was waiting there for like fucking 3 minutes. Ooh. All right, gonna do this a little bit different today. Do this. A little bit more weight in here. The only problem with this is gonna be getting into position. But once we get that up there, we should be good to go. Okay. Oh, the abs. Okay, slight angle here, using the straight bar. Same concept as going flat, just adding a little bit more of an angle to this movement. This is my first time trying at this angle, so don't be afraid to experiment. See what feels better. It feels pretty good, actually. Ugh. Biggest thing to keep in mind here is, am I feeling the stretch coming from my tricep or am I feeling it in my elbow? And I'm definitely feeling my triceps here. Ugh. Ugh. Oh, fuck, that burns. Oh, man. No, I really tried to make it a point this year specifically to focus on arm development, because although my arms look like they got some good size from the side, when they're flexed, they don't ball up as much. And that's because I have really short connective tissues. If you look at my arm, my muscle, my bicep, it goes all the way into the joint. Some people, their bicep will end here and they'll have this long, like, connective tissue. Mine, I have really long muscle bellies and really short connective tissues, which makes the muscle look very long, but it doesn't ball up as much. So I look big at rest, but when I flex, see, it doesn't really change shape much. So I'm really trying to put an emphasis on triceps specifically. It's always been one of my weak points this year, to build up that girth. And I've also always had big shoulders, so having big shoulders can make your arms look defined, but also can make them look smaller. And also when you got big forearms. So I got these arms that are sitting between my forearms and my shoulders, and it's creating this indifferent visual that's not really making it as aesthetically pleasing as it can be. So, you know, as a bodybuilder, you have to look at things in terms of an artistic perspective too. Like, look at proportions. And is it aesthetically pleasing? Are the ratios right? Does it look like a nice symmetry? And if it doesn't, well, then you need to change that. So a big focus this year is developing my triceps to add more fullness to the arms, especially in like front poses like my front double bicep, which can definitely use some work. So I'm gonna hit some more sets here. I actually really like that variation of that incline. Okay, so now I'm gonna do like a variation of a lying / incline curl, more of like a shearing motion from my biceps. Again, today just getting a little bit experimental, playing around with some new movements. I feel like the thing that I enjoy most about training is the training, right? I like to experiment. I'm not the person who likes to track all my weights and everything and watch my progress and strength. Instead, I like to have a little bit of artistic free flow, move around a little bit, see what my body feels best with, discover new movements that I think can benefit my growth profile, and just have some fun. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a slight incline variation with a straight bar today. See how this feels. Again, pinching my shoulder blades back, keeping those out of the equation, and then curling through the pinky side of my hand. Feels pretty good. Pretty light, but feels good. Oops. 8, 9. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can do a few more sets of that. Arm days are fucking boring. It's just a little pump, you know? Everybody wants huge arms, but me, if I could, I'd just train legs every single day of the week. If the rest of my body grew with it. But maybe I'd get bored, I don't know. I think I just like to move. Like when I get out of bed in the morning, I'm literally fucking hustling. Like I'll be like fucking dizzy, you know, when I'm out of bed, you know, trying to gain my balance in the first minutes of waking up. But the second my alarm goes off, I'm fucking standing up out of bed. Like almost like military style. I've been like this since I was a kid. When I wake up in the morning, I need to hit the ground running. What I don't like is waking up in the morning and having nothing to do. I just get like antsy. Not like anxious, but my body wants to move. Which is why I've always found that I work out best first thing in the morning. Because not only is it good for my psychological well-being, not negotiating with myself later in the day and thinking, maybe I could skip today. But instead, rather, checking the boxes of my personal investment and just say, hey, you know, I got the work in, I got it done, I put my head in a good space, I put myself first. That way I don't need to let the burdens of my day pile up and create a case of negotiation against me working on myself. Like, oh man, I'm too tired today, I got other things going on. You know, this problem popped up, that one popped up. Especially when you're in business and, you know, you got a staff of people that work for you. Anything can fucking pop up. Problems pop up all the time, in fact. So I need to make sure I prioritize myself first, because if I don't, then I will negotiate with it. Even though I love doing this, towards the end of my day when my energy starts to wind down, it ain't gonna happen. However, that being said, if the evening time is the only time that you can do it, at least get it in. But I would still argue the case that you make the time in the morning. It's gonna be good for your psychological well-being. You won't negotiate with it then. You put yourself first. It's just a good habit to get into. So, put yourself first. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 9. Oh. All right, it is getting pretty busy in here. Limited space now. So what I'm gonna end up doing is doing a single arm preacher curl on an incline bench. And why I like to do that is because, say the weight gets too heavy and I'm on a traditional preacher curl, when I suspend my arm, if it goes all the way down and I fail, it's gonna hyperextend my bicep and that can cause stress to my elbow. But when I'm on this bench, it'll set down. Let me show you. But when I'm on the bench, it will set down all the way and it will touch. And I have more ability to brace on this because it allows me to have a bigger surface area opposed to it being suspended with like a half bench here. So I'm gonna do a few sets of this. Let me move over here a little bit. I'm gonna grab this here. And now I got more surface area to go off of so I can go fully extend down. The dumbbell will touch at the bottom. And that's gonna be advantageous because if for some reason I fail, it's not gonna hyperextend my elbow. So I'm gonna take it nice and slow, driving my elbow into that bench and focus on curling from the pinky side of my hand. And I'm not just closing my hand, I'm trying to open and close from my biceps. Nice. Oh. Fuck. Okay. As you see, that gets me a nice full range there while still protecting my elbow. All right, let's do another one here. Ooh. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. All right, nice full stretch coming open here. Nice protection from my elbow. Curling through the pinky side of my hand. This is how I prefer to do my preachers. Oh, fuck. Ooh. Oh. Oh, fuck. Whew. All right, so I just got like two more movements I'm finishing up with here. One is going to be like a reverse grip curl. So coming through here, just squeezing that bicep. Again, this is more the front of the forearm and the brachialis, like the outside of the bicep here. So I'm keeping my elbow nice and tight. I'm not coming all the way out like a swinging motion. I'm keeping it real tight to the body. Kind of like almost like that push down movement I was doing for triceps. Holy fuck, it's gonna explode. Oh. 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 Oh, fuck, that hurts. So yeah, this reverse grip movement, it's good to get like different variations of like, we'll say wrist position when you're doing curling, because that's going to allow you to target the full bicep and forearm development and not get any imbalances by just doing the same open hand curling motion. Get some neutral grip, get some reverse grip. That way your arms are getting plenty of tension. Ah, fuck. And then lastly, I'm going to do one last movement, which is going to be a reverse grip tricep extension. So coming through here, find that angle that works for you. Again, I explained this in another video. This can help with tennis elbow, because when you're doing a reverse grip extension motion, you're actually training the top of the forearm muscle, which is very rare because you have to get this extension movement coming on. You're very seldom loading weight and doing this, right? But you're always grabbing a weight and curling it or squeezing your fingers, which trains this part of your forearm, but you're never training this part. So in order to correct that balance, make sure you get some reverse grip movements in there to really help stimulate some more tricep development with this reverse grip movement, but also target some of those forearms as well as a secondary. Jump into the 3-speed, 5 incline. Again, just doing 20 minutes of walking here. And just finished up with the arms. Everything feeling pretty good today. Got a nice pump. You know, I did not think that my energy was going to be where it's at because I only slept about 6 hours last night. Time kind of got away from me. I started watching an anime and I just let time get the best of me. And generally, I get excited to go to bed because I like to start my morning routine. And you know, that's something you should always strive for. Is if you're having a hard time getting to sleep because you feel like you're losing something, you know, you feel like you're cutting off an entertainment vehicle for yourself because your day has been stressful and you wait until the end of your day in order to relax and decompress, you're probably not living a very good life by design. And you also have a bad perspective on time and also your health, because what you're doing is you're robbing energy from the next day when you're not sleeping adequate amounts. So you want to make sure that something I talked about in a previous video is you set an alarm to go to bed. You know, you get your body into this habitual state of going to sleep around the same times, waking up around the same times, and that's when you can get yourself into a system of success. And it all comes down to you finding a routine that you enjoy, right? I think that's going to give you the largest amount of push towards that consistency. Is if you don't look forward to doing something when you wake up, if like you're like, shit, I have to get out of bed, I have to start my day, I'm not a morning person. It's a negative system of thinking. And of course, you're going to end up being tired because you don't want to go to sleep. You're not excited to go to sleep, to wake up and start your day. So it's something you definitely want to strive for. I definitely find entertainment value waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, fucking hitting the ground running and getting my morning routine started. And if you don't, well, then you're essentially setting your day up to start with negativity and poor energy levels, right? So the night before, you think, well, I don't want to go to bed yet because I want to stay up and I want to watch some shows or, you know, play a video game or read some books or, you know, get some more work done, whatever your case may be. And then you rob yourself of energy from the next day. So it's like you're waking up, you got low energy levels, so you didn't sleep well enough. And then there's nothing you really look forward to in your mornings either. So you have a negative lens that's going to trickle into the rest of your day. So that's not a very good way to start off the day. We need to get that shit fixed. But me, I love it. Love waking up early. My little morning routines. I think the key to a successful morning routine is to do things that don't require a lot of thought. If you wake up in the morning and you're having to make decisions right out of bed, that's pretty stressful, right? You're not even fully awake yet, and you're forcing your mind to become active and make decisions rationally when you're tired and you're battling those emotions. You need to have something that's almost like automatic. Like there's zero guesswork involved, right? You know exactly what you're doing, like what you're eating, what the measurements are of it, you know, the operational routine of it. And then once you get into that, you start to get these little hits of dopamine that really wake you up, and they set a foundation for the rest of your day of positive momentum and productivity. So find yourself a morning routine. That shit will literally be a game changer in terms of your overall efficiency and productivity, and also your mindset. If you wake up, or say you sleep in, right? Let's say you just sleep in. Well, you've already said no to yourself. Let's just start there. You said no to yourself and no to your life, no to your goals. When you go back to bed and you hit the snooze button again, it's just a bad way to develop your thought process. Like I was mentioning previously, the architecture of your mind's very valuable, right? And very fragile. And your mind's constantly absorbing things. And you're reinforcing those things through your actions. And if you reinforce bad systems of thinking because you decide I'm going to sleep in instead of wake up and work towards my goals, you're going to set yourself up for a life of pain and suffering, and not even in the good ways, in like the slow, poisonous ways. So, get a morning routine. That's all I'm saying. It can be something simple. Like you wake up in the morning, you make yourself the same drink every day. You make yourself a coffee, you drink some water, you go outside, you do a prayer of gratitude. Something simple, low barrier. Something that's not going to require a large investment of time to plan and think about, right? Make decisions for. Something simple and mindless, actionable routine where you just check those boxes. Ideally, making sure those boxes that you are checking are aligned with a goal that you have for yourself in the future, or the person who you want to become. And here's a little tip too. Instead of setting concrete goals, I like to set identities, right? Who do you want to become? You know, can you envision who you want to become? What's the next evolution of yourself look like? And what actions are required to get there? You got to give that some thought. I don't recommend starting that thought process in the morning like I was saying, but give yourself some time when you're free. Remove yourself from distractions and daily decision making. Give yourself, 10 minutes a day just to collect your thoughts around that. Put some powers of manifestation to work for you. Visualization. Because if you're shooting, and by all means, I think your life should be a journey, right? I think you should have an aim in life, but I think you should also be open to understanding that not everything that you do is going to directly get you there, and some things that you indirectly do actually get you there. And that has to do with chance and circumstance, divine intervention, many different opportunities, many different influences, many different inputs. You may not be in control of everything, but still have an aim, because that aim will allow you to set yourself up with an action list of things that you believe will help compound over time and help you get there. Like for instance, if I'm trying to lose weight, I think the first thing I'm going to do is wake up every day and eat a healthy breakfast, drink enough water, right? Let's get started there. Just eat some protein with your breakfast every day. What's a small actionable item that can compound over a period of time? And if you're in the world of finance or business, you understand compounding interest very well, right? What activities are you doing, are you seeding that's allowing you to compound interest and value over a period of time, right? Are you letting your money work for you? Well, are you letting your actions compound and work for your advantage as well? Or are you just doing a bunch of random shit? Mindless things that aren't really contributing to a future that you want to be a part of, right? Well, we need to fix that shit real quick, because you're going to put yourself into this cycle and whirlpool of doubt and dissatisfaction because you're not making any progress towards anything that you want to become. I think what's very fascinating is Viktor Frankl. He was a psychiatrist that basically lived through Auschwitz as an adult, you know? And he became a psychiatrist when he left because he started to understand that when people lose a purpose in life, a meaning that they're working towards, that they don't want to live anymore, and they become almost like empty and dead inside, just waiting miserably for life to terminate. However, if you have a purpose and a meaning, you can live through anything. What's that quote? Those who have a why could bear almost any how, right? If you have something you're working towards, it gives you a sense of purpose and fulfillment and meaning. And on those days where you feel like you're not really advancing much in your day-to-day life, maybe you've done something small to invest into your future, right? Like when you put money away into an investment, you're not rich from that money that you put away immediately, but let that grow over a 10, 15, 20 year period of time, and you're gonna be very happy with that result. Now, I'm not saying you need to wait 10, 15, 20 years, although you should think in bigger timelines. I think it's a better relationship with time. However, you need to make sure that it's contributing towards even something in the near future, right? Like in the next year. What if you dedicated the next year to giving effort in an avenue that you really wanted in your life, right? Like if you really want to be healthy, you really want abs, you really want to build some muscle, you really want to have great energy levels. You want to get rid of those aches and pains in your body and feel healthy and strong. What happens if you just fucking dedicate a year to it? And you think, man, Gino, a year is a long time. No. A year is not a long time. My friend, we're already towards the end of August right now. And I want you to reflect back on how fast this year has gone by. And imagine if you have put small things in your day that have compounded over that timeline of January to August that'll get you to where you want to go. Now, back in August, I could probably find a picture of myself. I was not in this shape whatsoever. I think I started like in the bodybuilding frame of mind again, probably back in October of last year, November of last year, and really put myself back into the discipline of eating on a consistent schedule, training sometimes on a daily basis, but not always. I need some rest days. But giving all of my actions an aim and a purpose, right? A why, a meaning, right? Because that will compound over time. And now the person that you see today was not the person who I was back in January, was certainly not the person I was back last August. So give yourself the opportunity to grow. Get the fuck out of your way, Like, you spend sometimes too much time thinking. You'll spend too much time thinking about what you want and not enough time working towards it. It's like if you know what you want, then your job's easy. Just fucking do something towards it. Now, don't try to create some elaborate, complicated, fancy plan that makes it the barrier to entry so large. Man, you know what? I need a full meal plan. I need a full workout schedule. I need to know exactly what workouts I'm doing, how many reps I'm doing, what days of the week am I going to the gym. Look, just fucking go, right? Just go. Stop trying to make a plan for everything. I'll tell you, the more time you spend thinking, the more time you complicate a plan, and the fancier things get, the bigger the barrier to entry. Just remember this, in business and in life and in health and fitness, simplicity scales. If you want to make progress in anything, you need consistency. And the only way to maintain consistency is to make sure that you are doing things that are simple, repeatable, scalable, right? That can compound. Are you making simple, consistent efforts towards your goals? And if you're not, well, then you better fucking start. Time moves fast, friend. You'll see. Just ask your parents or your grandparents about time. And I think if people get stuck into routines that don't help them see any progress, they'll tell you how time flies by, right? But those of us who have full lives feel otherwise. They feel like time is enjoyable. It's not something that flies by us. It's something that we integrate with and we feel a part of. And we use time as an ally for us. We don't use time as an enemy that we're trying to race the clock. We use it as more of a positive periphery and lens, right? Which is saying, hey, look at all the days that I have already done this activity, right? If you go back on a calendar and you mark an X on every day, you hit all your food goals, you hit your workouts. If you watch those things compound over a period of time, you're like, wow, your perception of time becomes very positive. Look at what I've been able to accomplish in this period of time. Look at all these things I have done. Like, for instance, have you ever had a day where you get a whole bunch of stuff done early and you're like, wow, it's only like 9 o'clock, it's only like 10 o'clock. And you're like, shit, I got a lot of time left, right? In my day, you felt very productive. However, there were some days where you didn't do shit, you kind of sat around, and the next thing you know, it's like, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're like, man, I don't feel like I got shit done, I don't have that much time left. It's a scarce view of time. And as long as you have a scarce view of time, then you're going to always be set up for a negative system of thinking. You think you're losing something every day instead of working towards something and building upon something. As time goes by, if you're getting wiser and smarter and better, you view time in a positive way. If time goes by and you're doing fucking nothing and you're sitting around, of course, you're going to feel like you're losing something, right? That's just part of the equation. So you need to change that perspective on time. Otherwise, you're going to set yourself up for a bad system of thinking. So start there. Simple compounded efforts, waking up, doing things that require very little thought that you can execute on. And that also are aligned with long-term vision and goals, right? I encourage you to set things in short timelines, but also in large ones, right? Because you need to be working towards multiple projects at once. I'm not a real big advocate on isolating focus to one thing, because you'll go through different seasons. You have different variables that enter your life, and that can really shape and change what happens, right? There's unforeseen circumstances in business. You talk about pivoting, right? You can't always time things perfectly. So it's to your advantage to have multiple poles in the water sometimes. That way you could jump between things depending on the circumstances and how you're feeling and what's going on in your life, right? Like, you got to have a couple projects, short-term, long-term, kind of like investing. You have short-term investments, medium-term, and long-term. And each one of those are going to require different actions, different inputs. Same thing with your goals. You should be planning, I'll say quarterly, we'll say 2 to 5 years and 10-year goals. I know it's hard to really plan that far because you really don't know how your circumstances are going to change over time. But like I said, it's more of an aim than a metric, right? Instead of you trying to focus on a very strict guideline of principles over a 10-year period of time, you ain't making no 10-year plan, I'll tell you that. But it's an aim. It's aligning yourself with and visualizing what you want to become. And that with time can change and evolve as you become smarter, wiser, gain more experiences, and you alter your perspective on time and the goal itself, right? You may get access to new knowledge that may shape the way you think, and that may ultimately change what it is that you want out of your life. That's happened to me many times. However, generally stays within the same domain. I think people have these proclivities and interests that they kind of gravitate towards, natural gifts, if you will, that are hard to get away from. It just seems that they're kind of pushed back into your life, right? I always say, you don't choose your problems choose you, right? They keep coming back, and they keep teaching you lessons. They keep giving you experiences, even people entering your life, I can't even tell you how many opportunities have entered my life as a result of other people approaching me, because I've aligned myself with an aim that has created an identity and a vision of my future, and has pulled those right people to me to help assist in that process. So set an aim, have a morning routine, put yourself into a positive frame of mind by changing your relationship to time and thinking more optimistically about your long-term goals. And that's it. From there, you get whatever the fuck you want. All right, I think that's going to be it for today. I got about a minute left on here. It's funny, like I was mentioning, perspective of time. Time flies by when you're enjoying yourself, but it can be seen very arduous and painful if you're not doing something that has entertainment value to it, or working towards something that has some sort of progressive element to it. But that'll be it for today. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, hit the like button down below. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I will see you on the next one.